Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Levels. I am Jeremy, and it wouldn't be a level show without Cassandra off screen whenever we start. I'm Jeremy Long.
Trying to clean
Welcome
the
to
screen.
what we allege is a MMA and boxing show podcast about these things that we watch on Saturday nights, weekends, and sometimes weeknights. People getting punched and kicked in the head. So it's been a really fun year. But we're going to switch it up. We don't really have a guest for this particular show. Instead, we decided to go with a group chat. And we're going to bring in, of course, our co-host, Ramblin' Ralph, and our special guest who actually just popped out here. So whatever he had, whatever MP, my co-host from the – oh, there he goes. He popped back in.
There we go.
Whatever we come back up, Michael Price will join us from the Black Hole and Lee Star Guy. People may not know what Festivus really is. And, surprisingly enough, a lot of people have not seen any episodes of Seinfeld or anything else. So before we get started, I did a little digging.
Many Christmases ago, I went to buy a doll for my son. I reached for the last one they had, but so did another man. As I rained blows upon him, I realized there had to be another way.
What happened to the doll?
It was destroyed. But out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
That must have been some kind of doll.
She was.
She was a special doll. So this is our. What are you doing? Are you Vanna White? Are you turning letters over there? Like
I had to grab
I don't know what
my
the hell.
motion. How are you gonna have a Festivus show and be ashy?
You know what? That is just part of the game whenever you do Festivus. So, it is the airing of grievances. It is kind of the worst of the year in a fun, tongue-in-cheek kind of way. And so I couldn't think of two other guys that I would rather have chat about the worst of things in the sports that we love than Michael Price and, of course, our guy Ramblin' Ralph. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, man? It's going good. I'm ready to let it all out. I've been holding my tongue for 11 months and 8 days, so I'm ready.
Got a lot of problems with you people.
Yeah.
It's
Got
like
a lot of
constipation.
problems.
Like constipation, just ready to let it go.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to start real quick with a quick reflection on this past weekend's fights. UFC Vegas 17, and of course Canelo is doing his thing. Let's start with UFC Vegas 17, headlined by Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy, and Jeff Neal. Cece, I know you were there in the bubble. You were there doing your thing, as you are known to do from time to time. What was the feel of this card? Kind of a last stand for a lot of veterans. It had that feel, and the veterans seemed to come through.
Yeah, OG stand up. You had Stephen Thompson, Anthony Pettis. We got a little more news talked about. Are you going to take that to the head?
Oh, yeah. Oh, girl. Oh, I'm sorry. On our other show,
What are you drinking, bro? What is that?
We're only allowed to drink Constellation brands on the other show, so I got some old oak. Old elk. Sorry,
Old
this
elk.
was from our friend Trent Keenan and his wife Lisa. They put their names on a bottle of whiskey, and so anyway, yeah, go ahead, UFC.
And Jose Aldo. So all three of those vets came through. What was interesting about Anthony Pettis is that he wasn't even on the main card. That was pretty much a clear indication on what was going to happen next, as he was on his final fight of his UFC contract. And when he did come into the media tent, I asked him, like, y'all been talking about your contract, or what's happening? And he told, according to him, he told his people to hold off until after the fight. And then lo and behold, within 48 hours after his fight, he got himself a new contract.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. But yeah, it was actually a decent card. There were initially supposed to be 14 fights, but due to COVID and fighters testing positive on fight week, how's that happening? How are you testing positive in a bubble on the day of the weigh-in?
Yeah, allegedly.
We keep asking this question.
Lemon pepper Lou.
Well, I think what's happening, like for real, Dana's not going to say this, but initially when they had the bubble, it was a real bubble. You got into your hotel and that's where you stayed. But now you have fighters who can go to Whole Foods down the street. They can go, pick up some of that Target. The people are picking up stuff, and they're over at the PI as well. So ain't no bubble, ain't no real bubble happening. So that's really the big story, is why these guys and gals are testing positive at the weigh-in, because ain't no bubble.
And it's weird that Dana would release such an attack, really, and that's really what it was, an attack video on the media and anyone who said that he shouldn't do what he did, which was roll shows out throughout the year and everything. And now we have sports that's later on in the year, but he got a lot of criticism at the beginning of this because he was kind of one of the first ones out of the gate. But then, a couple of days ago, he released a video basically attacking the media, just saying
on everybody.
They don't know anything. They don't know anything because they don't risk anything, because everyone in the media doesn't know anything, and they're all failures because they are media. And I'm the only smart guy because I have the most money in the room. And that's how smart guys, rich guys tend to think. So whether he's right or wrong, that's for other people to decide. But the fact that he and his fighters, more importantly, keep coming up positive, not every single one of them, but we've seen fighters lose entire corners 24 hours before. I mean, we saw that just a few fights ago where Paul Felder had to step in and be a cornerman for a fighter who lost every single one of his corner people. And how does that happen? I don't know. So, we leave that up for other people to decide.
Smart
but it
people
is
apparently can figure
smart rich people. Hey, there's our resident Mikey Dixon chiming in there.
What up, Mike?
And you mentioned Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis signs a new multi-fight deal with PFL, the Pro Fighting League, and at 33, 24-10 is his record. Former WEC champion, former UFC champion, whose best days, I'm not saying they're behind him, but he is not a young cat in this fight game. Mike, let me ask you, Showtime Pettis, he's famous for his Showtime kick where he jumped off the wall and kicked Ben Henderson in the face, and some other kind of Matrix-style moves. Fighters tend to age very quickly in these unforgiving sports, man. Is it better, in your opinion, for a fighter like Showtime Pettis to go to a pro fight league where he may not have the same same level of competition that he would have in the UFC for the swan song or twilight of his career?
Well, I mean, you look at it, it's just like any sports. Everybody's going to chase a check until they stop giving them checks. And so, going to another league, if they're going to sign and give him a check and he still has a name, and, when you look at it, he is the name in PFL. We worked with those guys last year, you and I both. And, looking at what they do, they just try to bring in who they think can fight. And that's it. Who can fight, who can last. Say that again?
Do they still have Rory McDonald? He signed, right? And then never had a fight?
Yeah, he just recently signed, though. I don't think he's had a fight yet.
Yeah, but with those guys' contract, it really just leads up to the big dance that comes around and starts in July. I'm sure there's probably going to be a new format coming up. So, you can't blame them. You go, you chase that money, and I'm sure Ralph has seen it when he's seen people in corners that they go like, man, you just need to sit your ass down. But guess what? You can't tell a man to stop going to get the money.
It's like when Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man are already played out in the WWE, and Ted Turner's like, hey, WCW, you come back over here and we're going to make you a star again. Anything in any sport. Look at the Major League Baseball players that can't hit the 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Where do they go? They go to Japan, face that bullshit that they throw over there, hitting 50 home runs, making $10 million a year. It's in every sport. And if Showtime wants to go and be the Hulk Hogan of the PFL and the Macho Man of the PFL, you know what? Go for it, bro, because the roster, even though he claims to be cutting people, these kids are getting stronger. They're getting faster. These guys got hands now. It wasn't like when it first started where it was the jiu-jitsu mania going on there and everything was on the ground. These guys can throw. And it's a little bit of a different sport now. So you know what? Good for him, man. He'll go over there and kick ass, and we'll be watching him on ESPN. And we're all going to watch.
That's it. And that's really it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. NBA players who go over to China collecting checks. And the good thing is what I think UFC is actually doing, because UFC never does anything without, unless it's something good for the UFC. And you can say shed salary and whatever. They've kept fighters on. They have female fighters with losing records that are still getting fights, card after card after card. And it takes a really, and I get it in some of these thinner leagues, but the UFC is also they just lost a big chunk of their anti-monopoly lawsuit against former fighters who are suing them too. So UFC is also trying to prove the fact that they are not a monopoly in MMA by letting these high-profile names go that, hey, these guys are still valuable, man. We're priced out of it. Yoel Romero, Rory McDonald, Anthony Pettis. I mean, darn, we couldn't afford those guys anymore and some of the other guys because we're not a monopoly, guys. I mean, this is what we're actually telling you. There's always something else with the UFC, man. These guys did not get to where they are without being the smartest guys in the playroom, in the playhouse, whatever.
Billionaires want to make more money.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And so that comes to a stop if this lawsuit led by I think Kung Lee and John Fitch and a lot of old school MMA guys, if they win and these guys are allowed to file a class action lawsuit against the UFC loses and something happens to them, it's really going to put a damper in that most important thing of all, that cheddar they get at the end of the year, So, there's always different things going on, man. It's very interesting to see. We also had another big fight, depending on how you look at it. Canelo stepped back into the ring after so many months off to face who is that guy's name? Callum Smith? Who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy? Hey there, Miss Natasha Clemens. I see you, cousin. Ralph. Listen, well, we had said on the Friday before that, it was going to be Canelo's fight for certain. But Ralph, I saw that David Benavidez had an interview today with Marcos Villegas, and he wants his belt back. Is that going to happen, or is Canelo going to squat on it?
No, what's going to happen is, I guarantee you, what'll probably happen is the franchise belt will be reintroduced at this weight class, and it will be presented to Canelo Alvarez, which in turn will then allow, even though David is the number one ranked, he won't get a shot at this title for at least another year and a half. And we talked about that, and I knew that was coming because there'll be an outrage if they do that. But there is a fucking outrage when you're allowing Canelo just to fight for the WBC title when at one point he didn't give a damn about that, and you're making special, recommendations to go ahead and let him fight for the belt. These two guys got in the ring, and it looked like Big Bird fighting Grover, right? And it was like, but it was a Super Grover from fucking Follow That Bird because he was kicking his ass. You remember the Super Grover from Follow That Bird?
Super Grover.
Dude, no, I was very disappointed in Smith. I really, really thought that he was going to come and just bully like he said he was. But look, after you get hit in the ribs about 37 times before round 3 ends, your whole game plan goes as shit. I mean, he was leaving himself wide open. And that's Canelo's bread and butter. How many videos do we see scrolling through our timeline of Canelo working on that left hook? It's almost every single one. That is his punch. And he was landing it at will. And by the 9th round, in the place that I was hosting the fight, at the bar that I hosted, I mean, everybody was already tuned out. It was that kind of fight. And unfortunately for David Benavidez, he would fight Canelo tomorrow if he could, and it's just not going to happen. Canelo will not go that route. We all know he's not going to go that route. He has been used to, and we talked about this again, not talking shit about him, but he is used to getting the big paydays and not having to fight the fighters to warrant that. And now that he's his own promoter, it will continue, unfortunately. So, you know, get ready for the Yildirim's and the other people of the world that will get to leapfrog David, and David will have to sit there waiting patiently. And what might have to happen is David might have to go fight somebody else in another sanctioning body to get that recognition to come back to the WBC. And we might see the Caleb Plant fight before we even see the Canelo fight, which I doubt that'll happen as well.
I mean, I'd be fine with that.
You guys want to know something? The worst thing in boxing that I ever remember watching, Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard 2, because it took too damn long. It took too damn long. Yep. And I hate that these boxers sit around waiting until they're in their 30s, early 30s, and they're like, man, come on. You know, I wanted to see some pepper. I wanted to see some juice. And because I'm a layman when it comes to this. You guys are the professionals. I'm just the sports guy. And I get tired when I see this, the waiting game. Yeah. And, you know, you just sit and you go, all right, I know this guy, Terrence Crawford, he's ready to go at anybody who steps up to him. And then I hear about Canelo, and I never see the crash on the highway that I want to see. So I just hate seeing, you know, because I've paid for too many damn fights, you know, be it MMA or boxing, where it's really not someone I want to see, even though I know with MMA, they usually get the guys that they want to see. But boxing, man, it's just kind of killing my taste there.
And you know what's crazy about this is that even say 8-9 years ago, Bob Arum didn't give a shit whether he put Pacquiao versus his own guys because the belt was staying inside Top Rank's house. The promoters really, really, really are deathly afraid of their fighters getting an L. And to be perfectly honest with you, as fans, we don't give a shit. Like Duran had plenty of losses. He still sold out. Yeah. Duran sold out in 1983 when he was fucking 40, couldn't even walk anymore. He's still selling out arenas. We don't care. Fight, you lose, as long as you fight with heart, the real fans, and they don't care. And that'll bring back the casual fan that said, holy shit, that was awesome. I want to see that again. They don't care about the records. We don't really care about the records. We don't care that Benavidez, Canelo, whoever ends up losing, we're not going to cast them off until Never Land. I mean, it's like, shit, that was awesome. I can't wait to see something like that again. And we're not getting it. And it's really frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Well, Loma just lost all of his straps, but I promise you, when he comes back, that's going to be a must-see event.
Right.
I guarantee you. And we're going to talk about Loma later on in our question.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Loma. And, you know, even guys like Deontay Wilder. I mean, you take losses like that and whatever, but I guarantee you, you know, he's still a pay-per-view draw, and there's still money to be made, and he's still that guy in there. And we're also going to talk about Deontay here in just a little bit.
Yeah. Just make sure you don't the fucking water is the water bottles is tight when they get ready to give it to him.
Yeah, you don't want
to water.
Just send the man to the ring in his drawers. He don't need no kind of like
have a heavy
like they have New Jack City when they're in that warehouse. Everybody's naked.
Right.
New Jack City. Man.
Open that shit.
Teofimo Lopez, Tyson Fury are co-fighters of the year and made the magazine covers and everything, all the glitz and glamour for Ring Magazine. What do you think about their selection? Warranted? Not warranted? What do you guys think?
I think I'm all right with it. You know, I'm not really a fan of like the co-fight of the year. Just make a damn decision on it. It could be either one of these guys. I guess you can make an argument for it. I would say for my money that it's Teofimo, just because of the fact that he came in and took on Loma as opposed to Tyson Fury in the rematch against Deontay Wilder. But Teofimo being as young as he is and the decorated champion that was Lomachenko, I would go with Teo, but I don't really have a problem with if it was Tyson Fury. My issue is the fact that there wasn't a decision. That's just lame to me. I don't like ties. That's stupid.
Ralph, what do you think?
I think that the Lopez fight was shocking enough to warrant that. I don't want to say if it's like I don't know what the hell happened there in that fight. We talked about that extensively that still kind of just boggles my mind. I thought about that the other day when I was washing my car, like what the fuck happened there? Like what happened there? He's warranted. You know what? He talks his talk and walks his walk. and he deserves it. But Fury again has always been, I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm gonna win. He did it with Klitschko. He did it with Wilder. I mean, damn, the dude just backs his shit up, right? And you can either make a case for both of them. I'm okay with that. I just want to real quick before I throw it to MP. I just want to congratulate a friend of the show, Bernardo Osuna, because he did get the fight of the year. And when it happened, and when he made the call, the Baranchek Cepeda fight, I immediately called him. I said, dude, that's the fight of the year. You just made history. You weren't even supposed to do that fight. They gave you that fight to play-by-play. They told you that day before. You got on the call. You kicked ass. You and Timothy Bradley, you deserve it. You guys work well together. And that was the fight of the year. And now that call will be heard forever and ever and ever and ever. And it couldn't happen to a better guy. So I'm really happy about that. MP, sorry, Doc, taking up your time.
No, dude, that was money right there. Yeah, especially with its family. Fight of the year, that's huge. You know, like you just said, when you put on a show in boxing, that's what people don't sometimes understand, that it's a show. Anybody can go out there and slug, but we want to see a show. And so for your man to give that, big props. But I'm kind of going Ralph, even though the first time meeting Ralph, you swear he didn't pay me. But yeah, that Tio thing kind of gets my mind kind of boggled, because it was going one way, then the shit just went 180. It went 180 fast, black ice. It went black ice bad. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. And but I know that, man, Tyson Fury, you know, dad bod and all, you know, he gets in the ring and he handles his business. And the first time I heard the name Tyson Fury for about 2 years, and I swore it was the big chiseled brother from Britain. And then when I finally see, you know, cocaine was involved. Come on, I was like, and then all of a sudden,
the dude had hair and everything, man. He had shoulders. Dude had triceps. He had hair. He looked like a completely different person now, but yeah, I mean, I get it.
And he still puts it on you. He's like, oh my God, let me put my beer down and whip this guy's ass. I'll be right back.
Pretty much, like he got on like slippers too. He just slide up out of them. And
It's crazy. He also fights like that one guy in the gym that walks in with all the brand new gear, doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's on the bag. He's doing all this crazy shit. You're like, dude, who invited this dude to this gym? We're just kicking everybody's ass. It's crazy, you know. So shout out to those guys, man.
Sure. So you know, I'd want to give it to Fury, and especially when he came back and won again, and then won that one decisively. And, you know, you go like, oh shit, okay, well, damn, don't talk no more shit. But you know,
he will beat him again if they fight again.
It's just, it's Styles. It's Styles.
Yeah. That fight was in February of this year. It seems like it was decades ago.
Forever ago, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I just told somebody today, the last show box we did was in February. And I remember that distinctly because I'm going to go ahead and spill a nugget. I have to use the bathroom during the main event.
I thought you were saying you have to use it now.
That's what I thought too. I was like, you don't have to tell us.
I announce a fight, I get out, and I'm like, Kenny, I have to use the bathroom. No, we have announcers have secrets. Listen, we have to sit down there for fucking 5 hours. Yeah. We can't just go and say, hey, I need to use the bathroom. You got to do things to make sure you're taking the ammonium AD. You take whatever you need to take to plug your shit up, because you might be there all night. That's real talk. And the sportscasters do it in any sport. I promise you. And I'm spilling the beans right now.
Why don't you wear a diaper, man?
Man, so I had to go. I had to go. I said, Kenny, I gotta fucking go. I can't do it. I mean, the buffet here at the Sam's Town ain't nothing nice. I gotta go. Sam's Town buffet ain't nothing nice, bro. And we took care of it, but it was pretty funny. So yeah, it's been since last February, almost a fucking year, and it just seemed like it was the other day. Yeah, Sam's Town. Shout out to Sam's Town.
Shout out to Sam's Town.
Yeah, wheelchairs and fucking wheelchairs and air. What do you call those things? You don't see Lambos there. You see the air tanks and
tank, yeah.
Shout out to Sam's Town's buffet and Ralph's Colon.
Oh yeah,
plug up the best you can. Well, speaking of spewing shit, every time Dana White opens his mouth, it seems just to be more and more of it. And we can say that because most media members, you saw this video, and we're gonna play just a clip of it. You can't play the whole thing. It's like 5 fucking minutes long of him jerking himself off and everything. But He released this video just a couple of days ago where he attacked the media because we're all dumb and he's smart, and everything. And it kind of raised a lot of eyebrows. But anyone that had anything to do with covering MMA, no one said anything about it other than hey, Dana released a fucking video. Why? Because they don't want their credentials pulled. Because that's the kind of tyranny you live under if you cover the UFC.
I did say something, however.
Oh, well, you did. Yeah.
That's you.
But, let's take just a quick look at a little bit of this Dana White self-love video.
2020 was supposed to be a banner year, a year now defined by a global pandemic.
The NBA is suspending the season.
MLB spring training, NHL regular season, March Madness canceled.
It will forever be known as the day sports shut down.
While sports across the globe go dark, Dana White says the show will go on for UFC.
Why is Dana White comfortable continuing?
Dana White is somebody with a flawed intelligence. He ought to be ashamed of himself.
Doubt this should even be attempted.
There's still a medical danger here.
Really negligent decision making to make a buck. There was an article in the New York Times today that was very critical.
I don't give a fuck.
It seems dangerous and it seems foolish.
There's no way to make a sporting event safe.
There's no way to 100% guarantee the safety of everybody.
We don't.
Anyway, I had to cut it off there, but yeah, you get the gist of it. Dana's smart, everyone else is dumb. Now, in fairness, in complete fairness, I mean, he was the first one out of the gate, and then other sports followed, and we've gotten to the point where we are now with abbreviated seasons and playoffs and all of that stuff. Let me start with you, MP. Looking back now, hindsight is always 2020. Was it fair for Dana White to receive that kind of criticism, or was he right? Was he just a leader looking for a way through to keep his people paid and his other employees employed and moving the thing forward? Or is this just like now we know no one died, so I can gloat about it kind of piece?
Well, you know what? It was a risk, and a big risk, because they were talking about lives. But in everything in life, there's always somebody who tries to take the chance, and like you said, wants to be the smart guy, because nothing happened. So looking, hindsight 50-50, as you said, or 20-20 rather, he led everybody, but no one knew. Just think about it. Had one person died during this, it would have been worth the risk. But he won in this case. I wouldn't want to have to put other people's lives. I'm sure there were a lot of waivers that were signed across the board. So, there wasn't anyone who was going to sue them. They knew what they were getting into. And it's another one of those big boy leagues, probably, right up there with all those other big boy leagues, football, boxing. You know what you're getting into. But now with this case, if you catch a flu, or you can die, and no one died. So I wouldn't have done it, but hey, he's Dana White. That's what he does, And I think if we all kind of looked at it, yeah, that's the kind of shit Dana White would do, and talk. Yeah, he said he didn't give a fuck. Come on, he didn't give a fuck. He said he didn't give a fuck.
CC, what do you think?
I think that video needs some context. Most of the criticism came from that he actually spotlighted in that video came from journalists who were questioning him trying to put the first event on that Native American reservation in California at a time when most of the country, including California, most of the country, was locked down. And what would have happened is that fight, that first one is at Tachi Palace, I believe is the casino, would have circumvented any kind of regulatory body. It would have been out of the purview of the California State Athletic Commission. And he didn't have to do any COVID testing either. So the criticism was more like journalists doing their work, asking questions. That's what people do. I actually did kind of a deep dive for lvsportsbiz.com. I'm not surprised Dana would take that kind of propaganda kind of video approach. He is best friends with the outgoing president of the United States, and that's what they do. They blame the media for their problems instead of actually facing the consequences of their actions. The risk had rewards. They spent $17 million on 23,000 tests globally. That was a huge risk. They still maintain like $1 billion contract with ESPN. So yeah, that was the reward. But now your bubble is bursting. You have fighters testing positive during fight week. They have also had a number of cards, high profile cards, fall out. And let's not forget, Khabib, his father passed away from coronavirus. In addition, I think he said like a tremendous amount of individuals were, I think the risk paid off monetarily, right? But then you also have individuals who got sick. You got fighters who were sick, family members who were sick. There's a story out today about a Florida basketball player who has a heart condition related to having COVID. That's going to show up. You didn't skirt that. So yeah, you had monetary risk, but there are real health factors that remain to be seen as a result of going. People remained employed. However, Dana did say that everyone remained employed, but he also did say that 60 fighters were about to lose their job. That's part of the fallout of this coronavirus environment that we're in. So taking a victory lap to dunk on the media, that's funny and all. But if you don't have media telling your story, covering the fighters and covering your event, you just have a big public wank from the people who you employ to actually put out these little crafty videos. It's silly talk to me. It's just goofy.
Ralph, you obviously come from a boxing world. Boxing was the second sport out of the gate. I mean, it was kind of neck and neck. I mean, right around the same time, some cards started going down, and that's where we first started seeing the word bubble anywhere. It was from boxing. I know, I'm not trying to ask you to give up any secrets or any private conversations, but what were some of the initial thoughts on, coming from the boxing world, looking at what Dana and company were doing? I mean, were they looking, going, oh, let's try to figure this out, or what was kind of some of the initial
stupid. They said it was fucking stupid, just like everybody else did. Like, look, I'm gonna be real with you. I have, like CC has a lot of connections. You do as well, because you guys cover that so well. One of my best friends is the DJ. I followed his every move on Fight Island. Those guys were tied down. I get it. I understand it. But like CC said, we're not talking about Fight Island in this. He took those videos from the guy from the LA Times. I forget what his name is. And Mr. Campbell, who was on Showtime regularly. These are not fucking mom and pop little 18-year-old guys with a phone camera walking down to the UFC trying to get credentials. This isn't, excuse what I'm saying, like a Jim Greasehopper making his way into the UFC. They are established worldwide editorial pieces that these guys are writing. It's the LA Times. It's Showtime. The guy, Brian Campbell, works for Showtime, and he put his face up there 3 times. The LA Times guy in the video 3 times. Like, yeah, how do you rank on somebody who fucking covers the same network that your shows are on? Why do you do that? And why don't you proof that before that goes that way? We can't fucking talk shit about him because he actually covers our cards on ESPN. Why would you do that? So I have a lot of this is in my end of the year boo-hoo. I'm not going to get too much into it, but the boxing people were like, how the hell why would you do that? And everybody at that time, when they first tried to do it and they first came out with the bravado, we're not stopping shit, we're not doing nothing. Shouts out to my boy Zach Palmer, who supports me in everything that I do, goes to every one of my fight parties. I love you, dog. Thank you for supporting. You can't blame people for being freaked out. The bubble is very difficult. I mean, these guys put a bracelet on you. You want to go take a piss outside of your room after you've already been cleared, they scan you. You want to go eat, they scan you. You want to go take a walk around your floor, they scan you. Fight Island is great. Fight Island is the most sophisticated bubble in sports, bar none. Yay. Fantastic. Tachi Palace, not so much. And you go to those casinos, like the ones in Tucson down here, when you don't want to deal with the commission shit, because the rules are the rules for a reason. Arizona has a 25% capacity for any sports right now. If a place holds 1,000 people, you can't have more than 250, period. You go down there to Tucson, they don't give a shit. They don't have to listen to anybody. They're a sovereign nation. They do what they want. And that's where those videos came from. And I back you, CC, on that. That was not right. They took it out of context. They mashed it up with the other video. And I'm going to speak more about that later. I have another comment that I would like to make, but that's pretty fucked up. It really is. Those guys cover your sport every event. Every event, they have a piece on it. And you rag them and you drug them through the mud. And it's pretty messed up. But like CC said, he's friends with a person that does it to his own best friend. So what do you expect?
Puts those journalists also in the line of fire for other internet trolls. Social media is a cesspool as it is, and so it opened them up to be additional targets from keyboard warriors with fake avatars on their profiles.
Yeah, those VPNs, those VPNs are making good money right now. Keyboard warriors.
Right. Well, we already started this, but let me go ahead.
The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
We already started the airing of grievances, but yes,
buddy. I put on my spectacles because I had to remember something. Yep.
It is Festivus. It is the airing of grievances. We already kind of started with Dana White's video, and from that standpoint, it is missing a ton of context. But again, that's what Dana does. I didn't see too many MMA junkie guys on that video. It's really weird. But other than that, let's start with. I'm such a dick. We're starting with our BS scorecards of the year. Now, every year, it seems almost every month, actually, either boxing or MMA, we are dealing with some jacked up cards. Usually they come from people named Adelaide Bird or something like that, but not every time.
Hey, leave her alone. She's awesome.
I know that's your people, man, but sometimes her scoring is whatever. It's Festivus. This is where we air it. So let's start with CC. CC, what is your BS scorecard of the year? There were a few to choose from, but which one did you find?
Look, so I don't forget this. There were two. One for boxing. Actually, I know a lot of y'all ain't peeping DAZN on a Tuesday, but I do. There was a fight, Ritson and Vasquez. I believe it was in October. It was very, very clear that the kid Vasquez was winning that fight, but somehow it ended up being a split decision. It was a 115-113. That's not the outrage. The outrage was that the judge, Terry O'Connor, was looking at his phone during the fight.
I remember they busted his ass on that.
Yeah, he's photographed looking at his phone, and you the judge that makes it become a split decision. Come on, man. The last one for UFC actually is recent. The Figueiredo Moreno fight. How is it that Moreno get the 10-9 in the fifth? There was no knockdown, nothing. But they gave him a 10-9, and that actually ended up being a split in favor of Figgy, but that's just stupid.
Huh. Ralph, again, you work in boxing. I don't want to upset any people that you work with or anything. Do you have a BS scorecard?
I do. And it just happened to my boy, Richardson Hitchens. Some of these scorecards have been, no, I'm dead serious. I'm not saying that because he's a TNT fighter. How the hell do you get a fucking split decision on that where the score is completely reversed like that? Listen, I get it. Sometimes when you see scorecards like that, like I go back and reference Benavidez Gavril. I love Ronald Gavril. I love David Benavidez. But like I told you, the crowd was split up. All of the Mayweather crowd was on one side. That judge subliminally scored the fight for Gavril based on crowd reaction. Benavidez fans were on this side. That judge had a clear winner for Benavidez. Subconsciously listening to the fans, not on purpose, but it just happens, right? There's no fucking fans in Connecticut right now. There's no excuse for that. Like, where do you go? Hitchens has dominated the fight like he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
especially when we told him what Mendes had said about stopping him, and he laughed. He said, "Stop! Wait, no, I'm going to dominate this kid," and he did that. And even though he won the fight, it is embarrassing and it's a slap in his face to offer that split decision, because that was bullshit. I mean, I can't. There's the other ones like the zone. When I watched the one that CC that you said about that, I agree with you on that. But this one was pretty egregious, and I was like, I feel bad for him because I know that he's really prideful and he really loves his work and he really feels like he's getting better.
Right.
And that split decision 2 years down the line, somebody would say, well, he had a split decision against Mendes. He couldn't even, that'll come back to haunt him somewhere down the line. And it sucks because
that'll show up in negotiation. He gonna lose about 10 G's off of that.
Yeah. I had to go back.
Yes.
You had to go back early in the year, January card with Joe Smith Jr. versus Hart versus Jesse Hart. Yes. Joe Smith Jr., not a big name. He's the one who was the very last fight of Bernard Hopkins' career, kind of ended his career, knocked him out of the ring and stuff like that. And Jesse Hart was, strangely enough, Bernard Hopkins' protege. Joe Smith Jr. just beat the crap out of Jesse Hart, knocked him down a few times, just whatever, had his way with him. But it was a split decision, 98-91, 97-92 for both cards, perfectly fine. But Judge James Kinney scored it 95-94 for Hart, who got his ass kicked and knocked down like 3 times in the fight. Amazing stuff there. James Kinney, Turkey, man. That is a BS scorecard. And I remember watching it going, what the was this guy watching? And you do that a lot. But again, back when you had crowds, and I'm sure somebody with, a girlfriend or something like that was sitting behind him screaming in his ear,
come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Oh, that was a great jab, baby. You heard him. He's weak.
You always fucking busted up all his eyes all busted up.
I can't see nothing. Cut me. Worst loss of the year. I'm going to start this one. We saw it earlier this month, December 2020. Matt Wyman in the MMA, UFC. He got KO'd via a slam from Jordan Levitt in 22 seconds. And it wasn't the loss. It was the loss that was so bad that he retired. There was no way he was coming back from a 22-second slam loss where you lose consciousness for minutes on end. Matt Wyman, worst loss. That man cost you your whole career. Just worse.
Yeah, I'm gonna second that one. But what made it the worst was is that this is the man that does splits after he beats you.
Jordan Levitt.
You can't have a dude bust you on your head, do a split, and twirl out the cage.
He twirled out the cage.
Make you look real bad. I'm gonna throw in the Maloney loss as well, which the phantom head. But I watched it over and over again, and it was a kiss. It was not no headbutt. And that's the kind of thing that get 80-something, almost 90-year-old Bob Arum jumping up and down in the arena talking about, I'm gonna get the F out of Nevada. That's terrible.
Right. What you think, Ralph? What you got?
You do hand-eye coordination with tennis balls. You are supposed to be as a boxing fan, my end all be all, my king, the stealth bomber, the untouchable, the indestructible, the
high tech,
the angle whisperer, whatever you want to call him,
the Matrix.
And you don't throw a fucking punch for 7 rounds, dude. Like, what in the hell is going on? Like, I'm telling you, when I tell you I think about this fight and it makes me angry. It makes me angry because for 2 rounds, you start blistering this kid. You're talking so much shit. He's talking so much shit about you for the whole 6 or 7 months prior to him even getting this fight. His father, I'm going to whoop his ass. He's nothing. He's nobody. You're going to see. You go in there and either you're scared or you don't know what is going on and your game plan goes from the Queen Gambit to fucking Chinese checkers at the Boys and Girls Club in 30 seconds. What the fuck, dude? Like, come on, man. Very disappointing. Worst loss for me because honestly, even though CC, I know that he'll come back and he'll be much TV, he'll never be able to shake this. He won't.
Nah.
Teofimo won't let him. I mean, look at Teofimo already. Look at what this win has done. He went to Eddie Hearn's building on his network and told everybody when cameras around, I'll fucking take over DAZN. I'll take over Matchroom and DAZN. Give me Haney. I'll take over your whole fucking company. Right there. Didn't give a shit about any network. Didn't care that Bob Arum was going to see that video or Todd the Buff was going to see that video. Didn't care. You know why? Because I beat Loma. I can do whatever the hell I want. And that, for me, is the biggest L for Loma because now he has no negotiating. He has nothing. It's just like, I gotta fix this, and we'll see if he can. Unfortunately, it's gonna take him a while, especially since these guys are not fighting like they're supposed to. I don't know what's gonna happen with this guy. We'll see.
It's Festivus, man, and we got a lot of grievances.
We are airing our grievances for Festivus. You can join along. What do you think? Some of the worst things of the year. Go ahead and feel free. We'll post your comment, or we'll make fun of your comment or something. Worst matchup of the year. We've had a lot of mismatches. We just saw Triple G beat the shit out of some kid. I don't know who the kid was. We've seen Bellator put on fights with Jack Hagar, the guy from WWE, who was a legit wrestler, amateur wrestler, and they literally looked like they were bringing in mechanics off the street that just found up 7-Eleven to fight this guy. One looked like a dad you would find drunk at a park. Right now, you could go to a park that's right here, and there's probably 6 of them. They look like they gave them $50 and a can of Coors Light,
old elk, and a bottle of old elk.
Yeah, they get some old elk and some, a pack of Twizzlers or something like that to fight this guy. But what, in your mind, has been the worst matchup of the year? Ralph, let's continue with you, man.
Fuck, it's plain and simple. Fucking Nate Robinson going in there with fucking tennis shoes and NBA shorts.
I knew somebody
was getting their ass kicked out of him. That's a no-brainer for me. That is shouts out to Nate Robinson, though. Honestly, it takes balls to even get in there and spar, even to just mess around with people. That shit hurts, yo. It hurts. And believe me, I do it all the time. And for him to go in there and have the balls to get in there and fight someone that kind of, okay, he's not a 10-year vet, but those brothers can throw, and they're learning.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest with you, you want to make fun of them. BJ Flores and Shea Mosley did wonders with this kid in a matter of 9 months because his form was better, his punches obviously hurt, and Nate Robinson with that fucking Chun-Li street fighting jumping shit, that didn't work, man. He ended up on a more is the first 48. There's memes of you, bro. There's memes of you everywhere on this earth. There's a mattress commercial that fucking has Nate sleeping on the mattress. That's fucked up. And that to me was obviously obvious.
Don't play boxing.
Poor Nate.
Destroyed my man's career.
The biggest mismatch of the year was obviously.
What do you think, CC?
Yeah, you definitely you play basketball. You don't play boxing. But listen, y'all, write this name down because we are combat sports heads. This one you might not have ran into this name, Gabby Garcia.
Oh, yes.
One promotion.
Yes. How could I forget that? How could I forget that one?
6'2", 235 pounds. Yeah. My worst matchup of the year is anybody going in to fight Gabby Garcia. It don't look right, okay? Nothing about it looks right. It looks like some whole-on cartoon carnival shit going on. And it is, I think her last fight, it was a 53-year-old woman. Came in, they were at the weigh-in, and I believe they expected Gabby to come in at 185 or something like that. And she came in at 220, something or another, against a 53-year-old. I mean, the woman just cussed her out and left the weigh-in, which I understand. But yes, for Festivus. Hey, Tina. Worst matchup of the freaking year is anybody. Write this. Go Google her right now. Gabby Garcia.
Shouts out to Tina. That is my new title person. I used to work with her back in the day. I'm in real estate, and that is who's going to be handling my title work from here on out.
Right.
I have to I need your help, Tina. I was supposed to email you today. It slipped my mind. I'll email you tonight. All right.
Hey,
Jeremy, before you go to yours, I'm going to forget if I don't mention this. There was a fight on DAZN with a guy, John Carden. I know him from doing cards in Milwaukee. He took, I don't know if it was his wife or somebody who only had a couple of professional fights, and they put her against Sinisa, and Sinisa walked up to her, threw a fucking 3-piece combo, and in like in 8 seconds, this lady was just out. Like the lady even went like, "Oh fuck, what am I doing in here?" And it was like, and then the girl just like got knocked out completely. It was like 8 seconds.
Yes,
that's our mismatch, because that was fucking, that was probably even worse than Nate Robinson, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you're right.
If I don't mention that,
Come
we'll
out
be
the
not
corner.
doing due diligence.
Oh, girl
That
was
was
kind of
fucked up.
like, she kind of slid out, right? She kind of slid her feet out, and before she knew it, like Sinisa was already on her.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, actually. That was really bad. That poor lady.
Atkins was her last name.
Atkins,
Yes.
that's right.
Yeah, she pieced
Oh, look
her
at Tina.
up. Like,
Ad placement, girl. Free. There you go. Nice.
You know what? Here's the grievance for me. You guys are no fucking fun. You stole my thing. Sinisa, 19-0 with a 7-second KO. Check this out.
End this quickly. Atkins reluctant to come out of her corner. Aiden left a 1, 2, 3, 4. It was Lamb versus Lyon. It is over. One of the quickest knockouts in women's boxing history.
That's me.
I'm sorry.
You stole my thing.
Hey, he just said, dude, shut the fuck up.
End this quickly. Atkins reluctant to come out of her corner. Aiden left a 1, 2, 3, 4. It was Lamb versus Lyon. It is over. One of the quickest knockouts in women's boxing history.
Is that Kellerman? Is that Kellerman shouting back
No,
there?
that's Todd Grisham. That's your your Las Vegas buddy, Todd Grisham.
Todd Grisham.
I'm sorry, dude. I busted a wad before you even had it. Hey, and you had the video on LCC. Isn't that cool? When you produce a show, your own fucking videos.
Yeah, let's see. Look at him now. Okay.
With fucking hand gestures and shit. We're like,
He's plugging businesses and stealing my thunder. There you go. All right.
We're over here doing hand gestures. He plays the fucking video. Oh, I got my video. My bad.
All right.
My bad.
All right, we'll move it on. UFC's worst moment. They have a lot, but UFC's worst moment in 2020. Cece, what do you got there for your friends over at UFC?
It's trying to stage that first event at Tachi Palace. Without having the proper COVID protocols in place, he actually told everybody to F off, that he didn't have to tell them anything. And in terms of the media or anybody asking a question, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. And to try to bust out the gate in such a cavalier manner, and then eventually had to walk it back because his bosses says, nah, had to hold him by the pamper for a little bit and say, nah, boss, this ain't it. So, yeah, that's got to be the worst UFC moment for me for the year.
Ralph, what do you think?
You know, there's so many platforms that over the years, as this UFC company has evolved, I remember the first time I rented the video, I could not believe what I was watching. It was fucking unbelievable. I didn't have pay-per-view at the time because we had the old Dimension, but now it's Cox Cable, but you couldn't order pay-per-view. It was a small company, and I was like, what the fuck? So I went down to the rental store in South Phoenix when I was a kid. I rented this UFC first in Colorado. I put the video on. It was a VHS. I could not believe what I was watching. It was the greatest, coolest shit ever. And nobody wanted to cover it. And now you have people coming all over the world and covering this all over the world. And you shit on the people the way you do with this video. I'm telling you, when I saw it yesterday, I felt really bad for some of these guys because they're just doing their job. Some people play the pandemic like it's a cold, and some really don't care about it, and they figure that it's not going to affect them until it affects them. And the video for me was a slap in the face. Yes, you did good. You did good. But I've been to that hotel that CC has stayed in, and you can fucking easily sneak out of there. I'm not shitting on and telling whatever, like, and telling a top secret. It's a fucking hotel, like in the middle of Durango, wherever the hell this thing is at. And you can easily go out the back door. And I know people that have done it. And I'm not going to say who, but I know people that have done it. It's very easy. So don't sit there and pat yourself on the back when these people for a living are just concerned with what's going on. It is okay to be criticized constructively. It wasn't like they were murdering this guy. They're just like, hey man, that's crazy to do that right now. And even the boxing industry, you know, they had problems. Top Rank had problems, a lot of problems. They still do, where there's guys trying to sneak out, like Josue Vargas's father, who I saw playing craps the day before his son was supposed to fight. So guess what happens? You're out of there. And that video was just crazy to me, that it just seemed like a political ad. Don't politicize this thing. Just, you know what, say, hey, this is what we did. We're thankful. The numbers alone would have shut everybody up. The numbers alone, the pay-per-view buys, the viewership. You even had me watching this shit, not only because now we cover it here with you guys. I want to know exactly what's going on, but you know, eventually I want to be able to announce in that environment. So
sure,
I need to pay attention to what's going on. But the video, too politicized, too jacked up, too mean to these guys when they're just doing their job. And that's, for me, that was kind of fucked up. That's just my.
Yeah, and I nail it down, because it's kind of, you know, you wait till the end of the year, you wait till there's a vaccine announced, you wait to, you know, hindsight again is 2020 and no one's died, but you're talking about young athletes. You're talking about people who are some of the best shapes of their entire lives. You know, they're better than the average person as far as shape and age and everything else. You know, we didn't really expect, you know, a fighter to get it and die. That would have been tragic. But like you pointed out earlier, CC, a fighter's father got it and died from it because, you know, he was a different, age bracket and everything, a different health scenario, totally different. It didn't matter. He was in the gym every day and everything, working out with his kid. Different scenario. So to come back and, you know, for as much as Dana White desperately wants to be seen on the same level as NFL and MLB and the NBA, can you imagine the NFL releasing a video like this saying, fuck the media, you guys don't risk anything, you're nobodies, you're weak, you're insufficient. You know what I mean? He's the only guy that regularly shits on the people that give him a platform. Because let me tell you something, their ad spend overall, you know, for a big company like that, is probably still in the millions, but they spend nothing locally. Okay, I worked in advertising here in Las Vegas. They spend close to nothing locally. So the people that give their fighters, who are independent contractors, not employees, they're independent contractors, those people who give them platforms like us and our shows, or, you know, our insignificant show and our insignificant newspapers and our insignificant blah, blah, blah. These are the people who prop your fucking business up. And you turn around and shit on these people, saying that because they're not fighters, because they don't get into a cage, they're insignificant. We don't risk anything, so we play on the, you know, it just kind of, you want so bad for this sport to move forward and gain ground and be taken seriously, and then you do shit like this. Can you imagine, you know, the commissioner for Major League Baseball authorizing something like this? You know, or Adam Silver for the NBA authorizes. They're doing stuff saying, hey, you know, let's work with our players and get social like injustices, have a light shown on them and things like that. Dana White's making hit pieces on the people that fucking cover him. You know, it's you know,
it's cringeworthy.
While absolutely dancing around the fact that he doesn't want to talk about any actual social reforms, he's talking about, you know, shitting on us. And that's a cringeworthy kind of moment and everything. Good segue. And it does kind of piss me off, and especially now that I've had some old elk in me. Fuck that stuff.
Well, you know, they slid it under the plate that Daniel Cormier tested positive 6 weeks before his fight with Stipe Miocic. They tried to couch it as an ad, really, for like some kind of smart watch monitor or something or another that's supposed to detect if you got some corona in you or some shit. I don't know what the hell it's supposed to do, but it was really an ad. But that's a huge story because DC's last fight, it's a heavyweight fight. It is the rematch. It's, all of those things. And they hid that.
Yeah.
And no one said anything. There was at least one UFC employee who also tested positive. Dana let that slip 2 weeks ago in a post-fight press conference. Nobody said anything.
Yeah, in that video, where were all the numbers for all the fighters that had to back out? Where were all the numbers for the quartermen and everything else?
You're right, and that's exactly. Here's the fucked up thing about it. You throw Bob Arum in this video, and again, this is just an opinion based on that. It doesn't mean that we don't care about these guys or we never want to work for them one day. It's just right now, this is the platform that we're on. We're talking about it today, and this is what we're going to talk about. You throw Bob Arum in there, but when Bob Arum has a fighter that tests positive, there's a media release within fucking minutes. Hey, guess what? Jose Vargas' dad is out because he's bullshitting and not following the rules. Hey, guess what? This guy's out. This person's out. I mean, it's immediately, and boxing does a good job of adhering. Look at our friend Marcos from Fight Hub. He had a false positive. They sent his ass home. Guess what?
Right.
You can't even come here. You're out.
NBA players were sent
three
home
more times, and it was negative. They didn't care.
The
They're
NBA
out.
shut the league down during a game.
Yeah.
During a game, just
players
today,
were sent home, and and from the NFL and everything else. They even, guys trying to sneak girls in, guys walking across the street to pick up Uber, guys doing all that stuff. They were sent home.
Yeah,
Same day a press release was out and everything. Sorry, Cece, go ahead.
Although we have, we've lived with this since March of this year, and people are COVID exhausted, and there are people going through other things because they've been locked away from their friends and families. But we can't lose sight of the fact that just in the past 2 weeks, I was reading, California has recorded 525,000 coronavirus cases in the past 2 weeks. That's an increase of more than 40,000 cases. We are still in the midst of that's just a surge. We're talking about now the virus is mutating as well. Right. People, over 300,000 people in just this country alone have died. It's not just somebody afraid to sneeze or cough around you. It's a really serious situation. And to make light of it in a hit piece video, it's not cute. It's socially irresponsible. It spits in the face of people who have died and people who have become very, very sick because of it. And so I can take it. Everybody has thick skin. Most people have thick skin when you cover combat sports. I ask Dana the questions that he doesn't want to answer. Most of the time he don't answer.
he knows whenever he sees your hand.
He knows.
Right.
He's got
Turn
the
it
mic.
on.
And we all have our own mic. So it's not like you can't give me the mic because I got a microphone.
He acts like he can't hear you, and he's like, let's move on. John Morgan, don't you have another question?
Right. And it's all fun and games until people have things like myocarditis and, the rest of their life is impacted.
Does anyone from MMA Junkie have a question? Anyone?
They get the first question, by the way.
They get the first eight questions.
Yeah.
Most cringeworthy moments kind of running behind here. But I have two. The Paul brothers are just absolute cringe. The fake stuff with Dennis Dillon, and we're throwing water bottles, and they're trying to set up all these other shitty little boxing matches, whatever. But also Canelo's divorce from Golden Boy into Zone. Talk about just a shit show for boxing in general. You sign him to a ridiculous contract, and then you find out the inner workings of the contract, which was that Canelo was trying. He had the final say on cherry picking his opponents. And when they didn't believe that Callum Smith was up to stuff, as obviously was proven right, a messy divorce, happened. And, there you go. That's I don't know if another fighter is going to get an offer like that, a $365 million contract like that moving forward. So those are my cringeworthy moments.
I'll tell you, for boxing, for me, that I hadn't touched on it, it's the replay issue that. Listen, I understand because they're my friends. I understand that there's an issue, but look, you have to fucking fix that. And I'm not talking shit because these guys are my friends, but listen, I'm 40. My motor skills don't work as well as they did when I was 18. I can't look at something and fucking figure it out like now, like I did when I was 18 years old. These guys, we have a lot of people That exactly, right? You're looking at a screen that's this fucking big down at the ring, and you're already in your twilight years. Then you have to go back and tell the judge 20 minutes later, guess what? That round that you forgot about, we have to now go back and rescore that. It has to improve. I know Joe Cortez is worthy of being that guy. I know Robert Byrd is worthy of being that guy. I know Jay Nady is worthy of being that guy. These guys are my friends. I trust them. But you can't put these guys with a fucking screen smaller than my laptop and expect them to catch something in 2 minutes. It's not going to happen. That has to be fixed. It's got to be looked at like the baseball and NFL. They can just do it off a property or in another room with guys that are right there with big ass screens that can rewind the tape back and forth and do it as fast as they can. Football replays get done in 2 minutes. NFL replays, they've got it down to like 90 seconds. Major League Baseball, the same. You got to do it because this shit, and I feel sorry for my friend Kenny Bayless because they're blaming him. It's not his fault. He just relays the message down there, and they're doing the best they can. It's not good enough. That's got to be fixed. That's my cringeworthy shit because we really didn't have anything else to be cringeworthy about. We had like 9 fights.
It is trash, but I will have to. Mine is the whole Colby Covington sideshow with UFC and how his racist rhetoric and his ignorance goes unchecked by that promotion. It's one thing when Conor McGregor is throwing stanchions at a bus and he's going back and forth with Floyd Mayweather in that lead up as well. It's a whole other thing when you get someone who has a UFC microphone with a mic flag in their hand on ESPN saying the things that he says. It's insightful, it's ignorant. He can't even spell communism, let alone has read a book regarding Marxism. And to allow that to go unchecked and pretend that it isn't what the fuck it is. Yeah. That is cringeworthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have Jeremy, real quick? Could we do a great moment in UFC? Do we have that on our?
Sure, you can do that. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just mention that Kung Fu Danielson kick that we saw for the knockout? And to be honest with you,
Joaquin Buckley.
Oh yeah, that was fucking amazing. That is the greatest thing I've seen since Danielson and the Miyagi-Do karate back when I was like 7 years old. That kick was amazing. I have to give him props because I've never seen anything like that in my life. And honestly, I've been watching the UFC Confidential. That is great work. And that kick,
they do an amazing job with their production.
Yeah, I mean they're awesome. But that kick was something else. EC, that was pretty phenomenal, man. I was really shocked that that even happened, and props to that. That's my.
Well, to keep it on brand with Festivus, that event is cringe-worthy, even though Joaquin Buckley had this huge platform now and he's getting paid more money. Joaquin Buckley still works at Walgreens and downtown St. Louis. You want to know why? Because they got a better health plan and a better retirement plan than UFC does for him. So holla at him. I believe he's on not the graveyard, but the swing shift down there at Walgreens in downtown St. Louis. Yeah, so he ain't just catching kicks for a living. He out there operating aisle 9.
Jeremy,
yeah.
Who's your turkey of the year, man?
Turkey of the year. You know what? I'm gonna go with DAZN. Just because they started blocking our video for showing that little clip, so they're already trying to block their 7 seconds.
They blocked my.
They're already trying to block our video because we showed 7 seconds of a fight that never should have fucking happened in the first place. So you know what? DAZN can kiss my ass. But otherwise, from that, you gotta. Yeah, like they're in the middle of it. They're in the middle of it right now. So you know what? They can kiss my ass. But you know, also, I mean, besides DAZN and their stupid lawsuit with Canelo and just otherwise, you know, shitty product overall, you can go with Jake Paul, who's a fucking moron, or you can go with Deontay Wilder, who blames anyone except for himself for his loss to Tyson Fury. You know, the vest was too heavy. Someone spiked my water. Everyone's against me. I really didn't lose. Big. Yeah, they threw in the towel. I didn't really go down. Blah 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 blah. Have your pick, man. Combat sports is just ripe with a lot of these stupid stupid people. So,
Cece, what about you? What about you?
No, I said it. Yeah, mine was the whole Kobe Covington.
Oh, that's right.
show.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
For me, it's just whoever the hell in the DAZN, De La Hoya, Canelo. I'm going to back Jeremy on this. Whoever the hell was the one that signed off on $30 million a fight to allow this man to fight whoever the fuck you wanted to fight. What you did was you created kind of a spoiled brat mentality where there's no need now to fight the David Benavides's and the Caleb Plants of the world. I'm just going to go off and I'm going to fight, Callum Smith and Rocky Felding and whoever the hell I feel like it and become a multi-gajillionaire in the process. It's really sad. It's sad. Like Oscar, I know, tries to do the best he can for his company, and he's been fucked with many a times by other people and had to start all over again. Now he has to start all over again. Like this is now the third time you're starting your company from scratch, and you better hold on to Ryan Garcia and you better hold on to Jaime Munguia. And I'm telling you right now that Garcia's with Canelo, he's as good as gone. You're going to lose that kid, so you better find somebody else to replace that kid because he's as good as gone.
Wow, they still have Devin Haney too.
Every single day, forget it. And that's the turkey of the year for me is whoever the fuck decided that was a good idea just because you needed the viewership and the dollar to let him fight for $37 million against Joe Schmo, the butcher down the street. It's sad because that is the number one draw in boxing right now. Besides Floyd putting up a tweet saying he's fighting somebody in Japan that we don't know of and making worldwide news, he's the next biggest thing still. And it's sad that this has come to what has come, unfortunately.
Yep. Looking forward, overall gripe, we're going to close it out with our overall gripe. Looking at the next year, what are you already see on the horizon that you don't want any more of? Cece, what do you think?
What I don't want any more of is promoters deciding what the best fight is for the fans. Boxing fans get what they pay for. They don't get the fights that they want. And stop paying for these bullshit fights, and they'll stop showing you these bullshit fights. I do not want to see the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder tri-match. Can't even call it a rematch. Would like to see Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury actually get it on. I do not want to see Errol Spence fighting another PBC fighter. It's time for him to fight Terrence Crawford. So my overall gripe for 2020 and looking at 2021 is these nonsensical matchups that promoters are trying to shove down the throats of boxing fans.
What do you think there, Ralphie boy?
The
moon, Ralph. To the moon.
Yeah, that's thanks a lot for that. The face of the guy from Hollywood. I appreciate that.
Never heard that before.
Yeah, I know. I've heard it plenty of times, especially when I shave my beard. It's horrendous. I had to kind of to ride the coattail. I mean, as fans first, I know that. Man, I wish that everything was as smooth as when Fury fought Wilder the first time. They actually got along pretty well. I don't know if the networks were fighting behind the scenes because I wasn't really super duper a part of that, but it worked out really well. Now you've got people jumping. Like I was really surprised that for the Triple G fight, we had some people crossing over that were like hosting PBC stuff and play-by-play or ring announcing PBC, jumping over to the zone and doing work there. If they can do it, the fighters can do it as well. It's happened before. It can happen again. Let's go ahead and make these fights. Let's make the Crawford Spence. Let's make the fights that the fans want to see because, to be perfectly honest with you, the UFC, they have the money. They have the backing. They can do shows 2 or 3 times a month and have them on pay-per-view and still get the numbers. And if these guys do not start working together and figure something out and stop handing out, as crazy as my interview with Floyd was and as crazy as I thought that I would never live another day being in this business after we were done with that interview, it actually makes really good sense that, these belts, I wish we could go back to when I was a kid where the middleweight was 160 to 160. There was no super middleweight. There was no light middleweight, junior flyweight. It was just one weight class and one belt for each organization, and that was it. And I think that even though the sanctioning fees make these guys money, we need to buckle that shit down because it's getting watered down and it's getting to a point where nobody's really giving a shit. The younger guys growing up, they are not casual fans. You need the casual fans, and UFC does a good job of attracting those. So that's what I want to see. I need to see the sport livened up a little bit. I need to see a little bit more of a Ramblin' Ralph around these parts.
Yeah.
Some more, man. Shit. Like, I've got this really hurt the bag on a lot of levels, and I just want everybody to be safe, but at the same time, I want to get back to work. We need to get going, man. All of us, you know.
Man, you don't like the North American silver belt and the brand new franchise.
Well, look, it's getting so bad that the IBO now is back as a relevant belt. They had I was like, dude, where the hell you been, IBO?
Right?
Shit. You know,
you've been drunk.
It became relevant again because Triple G's had. I think it was Triple G that's had that belt forever. Yeah. One of those guys, but like now all of a sudden the IBO is a big thing again because it's just getting crazy with these belts. So I mean, I don't want to see Triple G Canelo again. Canelo's way too big. He'll fuck Triple G up this time. I think it's a big difference now. Body. Triple G looked okay, but when you knock somebody out with a jab and then a check, like a little check left, and the guy goes fucking flying across the ring, that was straight bullshit to me. And I called that out, and somebody got mad at me. They're like, "Yo, Triple G is the real deal." No, dude, the guy got knocked out with a fucking jab and a little check hook from here to here. I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see Canelo versus Triple G again, though. I think it'll be a mismatch. And I just want to see great fights. If the promoters have to work together, let them work together. We'll figure it out. If somebody has to announce, if they have to sit in the sidelines, and if Buffer has to do that one, and Lennon does that, I do not want to see hologram fucking Michael Buffer again. I don't want to see that. Poor David Diamante. It was a disrespect on that part to him. David Diamante, even though obviously it's in my line of work, he's been around for 20 years. He deserved that spotlight. If you're going to give it to him, then fucking give it to him. Let him do the whole thing. It got fucked up. Whoever pressed the button didn't do the due diligence on that, and it was a clusterfuck, and it was a mess. And I felt bad for David Diamante, and I just don't want to see that shit anymore. Like, everybody just needs to work together or get the hell out of the way. Period.
Peace.
CC?
Yeah, no, I said it.
Okay.
There was those BS matchups. I don't want to see a bunch of, promoter-driven fights anymore. I would like to see the fights that the fans are asking for, but fans also have to stop paying for the bullshit.
Yeah, it's up to the fans, man. And that kind of leads into mine, and it's already trending this way, but, whether we like it or not, the kids from YouTube are here to stay. They are, they attract eyeballs, and it's money, and you've opened the door, and now this is, it's not just here in this country, also in Russia. We saw the 140-pound girl taking on the 500-pound YouTube fighter, and you'd say, yeah, that was total mismatch. She won that fight or whatever. What? But then Bellator signed her.
Oh, she whipped his ass, CC.
Yes, she whipped his ass.
The dude was like covering up, had to tap out.
Yeah.
That ass kicked.
All of that, and you would normally frown upon that, and every time you think Bellator, who's supposed to be, number 2 promotion or whatever, has turned the corner. Scott Coker puts out all this rhetoric about, we don't do freak fights anymore. We're not interested in all that.
We do freak fights.
Then they're going to sign up all this shit. So, Bellator, but also the exhibitions that are coming into 2021. All the old fighters who have retired are now gearing up because they think they can earn another few bucks. And good on them for earning another few bucks, but it's not anything I'm ever going to pay for. I will never put $1 down to watch Shannon Briggs versus someone else that died about 4 years ago.
They've already advertised the Paul brothers fight before Tyson's next fight. It's already out. So that just goes to show you what traction these kids are getting when you are already advertising the Paul's fight before your guy. Tyson only league is his league. They got the fucking tattoo as the logo. It's your guy's league, but yet You're already advertising Paul's next fight in March. Holy shit. What are we doing here? And don't get me wrong, I'd announce the shit out of that because I'll make it fly. I like the fucking shit.
But hey, if people don't pay for it, they wouldn't put it on. But people pay.
I agree.
You don't want the shit fights, don't buy the shit cards. But hey, that's fans, that's whoever is actually plunking down $70 for these freaking fight cards for their favorite YouTubers. To, you know what? If you want to show me, give me Jake Paul versus that 12-year-old kid who makes $40 million a year open presents.
The Ryan toys.
Yeah, give me that fight. I'll put down.
Hey, that one, that kid.
Because I would like to fight that kid too, so
right?
I did something wrong.
I'll fight kid.
My son watched those videos about 1,000 times.
Man, exactly. Yeah. That's why I would fight that kid.
My guidance counselor lied to me, bro. I mean, he sat me down and said, you can do these 6 things. And, these kids are now making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Whatever. So that is Festivus. We grind and complained and everything else, but that's Festivus, man. That's
Before
what we do.
Leave,
Go ahead.
I know this is a show about getting the shit off our chest.
Are you about to get real deep? Are you about to get real deep?
Or any promoter or anybody that's gonna watch this today, tomorrow, fucking next week. Understand that we care about you guys, we care about the fighters, but there's shit that we just want to see as fans, right? I want to tell you. This is probably the last show that we're going to have through the year. Yeah. Again, I'm going to reiterate. I did want to go on my own and tell you guys to go kiss the moon, but I really enjoy. I wish that I would have met you guys earlier in the year. I'm very proud of what you guys are doing. I'm proud of the coverage CC and Jeremy are getting. Jeremy, again, if you guys don't know, the Black Hole, the Raiders official fan club, or whatever you want to call this nation that you have. Jeremy's running that podcast, and CC, her interviews are making worldwide history on Instagram searches. And I am so proud to be with you guys. And I'm going to do my grievances, and I want to get to your fucking level, and I'm not there yet. So, but in the meanwhile, I just want to tell you guys that I'm having a blast. Let's keep this ball rolling. The fans are loving our stuff. They love the fact that no other podcast gets personal like we do, whether it's good or bad. We're going to call you out on it. You're going to come on this show. You're going to probably fucking cry because you're happy or you're sad. One of the two, we're going to get the shit out of you. It's like you're sitting on the couch and we're your psychiatrist. That's just the shit we do because we're different and we're real and we don't bullshit. So from me to you guys, I appreciate it. And even fucking Mike's crackhead ass, we love him to death. And I think that we're going to get the ball rolling. And for anybody that follows us, thank you. 2021 is going to be massive with the Raiders, with the VSD. We're going to start expanding sports-wise, start doing more articles, more live videos. It's going to be fucking awesome. Thank you guys for what you guys have done for me, bringing me on, and I love you guys very much. So I know it's sappy. I'm supposed to be talking shit, but just for me to you guys, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Closing thoughts.
Listen, it's going to be a bumpy road going into 2021, but we're going to be right here. So ain't nobody going nowhere, literally not going nowhere. But it's been a fun year to pivot and keep the show going. I remember the first one we had, I had to sit on about 17 books at my counter to get so because I had a whole different setup. So appreciate you fellas and your patience with my madness. Because listen, moments before this camera goes on, there's always something crazy happening in my house. And these fellas know it, and they're able to roll with the slip and evade the punches, and we made it, y'all. I'm appreciative of it.
Your kids are like the fucking blooper reel of all our shows. Like every laughing moment we've had is because you're talking shit or yelling at them.
Where's that T-Rex at?
In fact,
usually
I told
the T-Rex is somewhere.
I told him to move it, and it's still right here.
Oh, shout out to Mercedes too, by the way. She's been on every one of our shows. Thank you, Mercedes, for what you do, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you to everybody who
I need to see that again.
Come by.
See that Jurassic Park
this
shit again.
Is like 3.5 feet tall too. It's huge.
There you
Look at this
bastard.
dude.
You did it. There you go.
Jeremy has the theme song in Jurassic Park on point.
It's the mascot. You know, some people have Grogu, which I really thought that was a baby Yoda the whole time.
Oh,
but
Baby
it's
Yoda.
not.
I was like,
It's
Grogu,
not.
what the
It's
fuck
not a
is that?
baby Yoda. It's not even Yoda.
What is it then?
It's like a cousin, but it ain't Yoda.
You guys watch the Mandalorian bullshit? I got a friend that
Love
watches
it.
religiously.
Love it. Need to
Oh,
watch
Jeff.
it.
Okay, I'm glad you're back. This guy right here, Jeff Ronning. You see this guy? This guy is the
He has great
ringside
hair.
Masters Division World Champion. I spar with him in my gym. So anybody over 35 years, amateur-wise, they fight in this Masters Division, and he is the world champ. And I get to work out with him. He's a big fan, and I appreciate you, Jeff. Thank you for being on, man.
He has gorgeous hair too.
Yeah, I talk about his hair all the time. As a matter of fact, he makes fun of me because I don't have any, and he's fucking got hair of a newscaster. This fucking
Yeah. I bet his barber charges him
Look at
double.
that. Look at Jeff, looking great.
Look at
He
that.
actually has a
Yes.
webinar company that is doing really well because everybody
Right.
has to stay home. He made his own software from the mud,
Hey, now.
and it's been fantastic. So big shots out to Big Jeff there.
Get it. Jeremy, take us home.
All right, I will close us out, and it has been good tongue-in-cheek humor for this show. You know, we air our gripes, and it's, you know, for the most part it's minor, and we get a little in. But this is the only show we really do this on. But we do dig in, and we keep it real with all of our guests. And 99% of our guests and the wonderful PR people that we work with that help us set up these interviews, and Ralph, you know, using your contacts and everything else, that give us guests that no one else can get. I mean, that is super crazy when people email our podcast and go, "How did you get so and so? We can't get them." That's just our connections, and the fact that people know that they come on our show, they're going to have a good time. They're going to laugh, like you said, CC. You know, sometimes we've had people cry, we've had guests sing, we've had them spit bars for us. You know, and that's just who we are. We love.
They made them go to their car and get the fucking championship belt. Teofimo busted that shit out.
Teofimo showed off his belt. David Benavidez, so many guys showed off their championship belts for us and everything else, and they were proud of it. And we love these men and women who we had legends like Christy Martin on. We've had Brian Cusser, who's won multiple Emmys, and you know, and everything, and all the fighters in between. And we could not do it without any of them, and we can't do it without any of you guys who comment, share, like our pages, and do everything else, man. We have minor gripes, and that was the show was about, but we love the sports that we cover, that we work in, that I've covered since 2010, almost a decade of covering this sport, you know, of boxing and MMA and everything else. And we couldn't do it without any person, even in our families, that put up with our constant times that we have to go away and be in bubbles or go away and be live, and they're being quiet in the other rooms and everything. We can't do it without anybody. We love what we freaking do, man. And Ralph, you have been an absolute A++ addition to this team. You and even our little crackhead Mike Dixon, we love him. We're playing around. We love Mike Dixon. We love Vegas Sports Daily, Levels, Black Hole, Michael Price, who was on earlier, who does a lot of behind the scenes stuff for us. Roxanne Brown, Amy, who's your girl? Amy Green? Amy Green? Amy Green, who hooks us up. Xena, a lot of these people that play parts behind the scenes for us. We can't do this without any of them. So whenever we come live, you know, and show up and we have fighters and everything else, we do it because we love it. And there's no other reason for it because, you know, we're not multimillionaires. We're not, you know, we hope to be one day, but we're not
rich
there.
right here, rich in heart.
We're rich right here, and we love doing it. We love bringing this to you guys every single week. We're gonna, you know, we'll take a week off. We'll do New Year's and all that stuff. Hey, Monisha,
Hey,
come on.
Monisha. Hey, I got my hat. My daughter's been wearing it pretty much 24/7.
And where we started with Levels as far as being on Guerrilla Sports Network, and now we're over here, you know, kind of doing our own thing, but we love the guys, Quan and Mo and Mel and Goose Thomas and all the guys and girls that do the sports shows over there. We're all one big kind of podcasting family. So that's it, man. I mean, we absolutely can't get enough of what we do, and that's why we do it. That's, at the end of the day, we all have jobs and we all have other stuff to do, and we all have families and kids and everything else, but we come here each and every week and give it our very best. And hey, sometimes we hit home runs, sometimes we strike out, man. Even Babe Ruth struck out. But we keep showing back up, and I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of people is we keep showing back up. And we have some big things on the horizon. And I know a lot of people say that, especially around the New Year's, but we really do. We have some great things coming up. It's only going to get bigger and better from here because there's levels to this shit, right?
There's levels to this shit, baby.
There's levels to this shit. So thank you all. We hope you have an incredible Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, we hope you have a great Friday. And then a Happy New Year, because it's going to be 2021, and we'll finally have this year that it's been one for the books behind us. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Yeah, let's do 2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Take a break.
In January, we'll see you guys again.
Take a break.
See you next year.
And TC Martin, you're a guy. Get you a better phone.